Candy, we're back.
Hello.
I'm ready for you. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. So do I have permission to go into your records?
Yes, please.
Okay. Hold on a sec. Whew. Beautiful. You know, I don't use this word too often, but they do have a few things to say, and then we're going to ask specific questions. But I love when they give me a little something. So the first thing that they said is, you have been ordained, and that means you. And they said, you've been ordained with a mission. And it's so beautiful because there's such a lightness to the spirit energy of who you are as a person. And you had all the skills that they needed to get their messages out, and they're doing it through you right now, which is, I don't usually see this, so it's really pretty cool for me.
Chills.
Yeah. So this whole thing with your husband had so many layers that aren't even revealed as of yet. They're showing me literally an onion, and so. Part of the interesting part was, of course, this situation with him. Yeah. But what's really cool about this is who you've become through it. So do you see how interesting this process was? That it was almost like, usually people think of time as January through December, Monday through Sunday. Yeah. But this particular, and I usually in the Akasha, the energy of time is different. It's more like a pebble in a pond, and then it vibrates out. But with this particular situation, there was some linear function to it, if that makes sense. Because what happened to you, well, it kind of is like, again, the ripples. What happened to you was the rock in the water, the pebble in the pond, and then now do you see the vibration of the ripple effect of what has happened through this?
Absolutely.
So they just wanted to give you some clarity about your personal mission, which usually I don't see it this clearly and this quickly, but it's so vital to the pieces that you're going to ask next.
Oh, good.
Okay, so, and now your specific questions.
Wow. I'm the walk-in process that has happened, and it's so interesting that you say that, because that really did start all of this. And I really believe that in writing that book, that was to bring me to the next step, which is what we're all doing now.
Yeah.
That was a stepping stone. That was not the end. I just really feel that. But the piece of it, the walk-in part of it, it's I don't know, maybe it's 6 years now, and all kinds of things are happening with my husband, the new soul within the body and whatnot. And I'm struggling with it a little bit, and I'm struggling with it because of what my earth mind is expecting. And I don't know that that's what's going to happen, and just looking for some clarity on that, or yeah.
Well, let's get a little more specific about the question, right? Because, well, first of all, they have something to say about expectations. So what if we were to just play a game about expectations right now and to let those go? Would that be something that you'd be willing to think about doing or feel in your heart?
Oh, absolutely.
So that's the first. They're showing me they're showing me a race, like how people jump over those hurdle things. I don't even know what they're called, but there's hurdles yet to come. And there's techniques that you can learn in this moment to jump over them comfortably, so that you don't have to trip and fall as much as, life gives us, right? Like all of us have hurdles and trips and falls. But there's ways that they're showing me that can be comforted to you in advance. So let's talk about that. Let's get real specific here. So what are some of the challenges that you feel, as comfortable as you feel sharing, that you're having currently?
From what I've understood, after this walk-in process, my husband is the soul of Jay that's in the body of, is supposed to be able to remember this or become awake and aware, which I think I might be using the wrong words, but he's supposed to remember this. And right now, what I have is so much of the man of my heart that came back to be with me in this body, but we can't discuss it one-on-one because he doesn't remember it. And that's just where my frustration is. And it's, that's all it is. It's like to have that companionship. And I understand that Jay, even his higher spirit, is around me all the time. I get that. But when it comes to waking up next to somebody or having a cup of coffee, I've been told to just let him wake up on his own, in his own time, and let that unfold. And I'm doing that, but I'm bumping up against this a little bit of frustration.
Oh, I can really feel your heart in this situation because it's something that, you know, it's not like, you know, I'm not laughing at this. What I'm laughing about is this is so unique. Like our human minds are like, you know, like how can you even, you know?
You said that when we first met.
Yeah. Did I say that? See, I don't remember my readings because I'm channeling, but
yeah.
It's kind of, but here's the skinny mini on the whole thing is that this was part of a, gosh, they're using this word again, preordained package. And what comes with this preordained package, and I do remember this now, it's coming to me, is when there's rules about this that were kind of not seen when the whole thing transpired. Like they kind of, so this is an example that they want to share. When I do a reading for a lot of people, what I do is I actually kind of ask them to, my guides, to create kind of a thread so I can keep track of them when I'm doing a reading. And so as soon as we open the records, they either jump in before I even get there, or I have to coax them and say, no, it's okay to come in. Now, they don't see or hear this. Maybe they feel it, but they're kind of showing me the same sort of technique. There's rules that are at play in life. And with this, your record keepers are being really funny, and I don't even want to say some of the things they're saying.
Oh, go ahead. I know that they're funny.
They're like, this is like the zombie. You know, like they're being really hilarious. Like, you know, the body snatchers. Like they're being really funny. And I'm sorry, like I don't make these things up. It's,
no, and it's okay.
It's embarrassing.
Let it rip.
They're really funny, but yours are hilarious. And they'll be like, well, you know, what do you expect? Like you know, there's parts of him that are awake, but there's parts of him that are deeply asleep because nobody really completely followed the rules in this. Like there's, how we get here is usually through a different venue. It's through a birth process.
Yeah.
So you are right in having him stay. He'll unfold like a flower. They're showing me more a lotus. Usually they show me a rose, but they're showing me a lotus. And I'm not sure I know what the symbol for lotus is, but
okay.
They said you will.
I will, because I had a channeled message from my spirit guides, and it was all about a lotus. So this is just, isn't it amazing? Lotus is just, it comes up through the mud and the muck and unfolds and just keeps on unfolding on top of the mud. It's really neat.
Oh, I have goosebumps all over.
Do you?
I never really, I mean, I know the lotus symbol is like really important, but I thought consciously Candy doesn't know what the lotus is, but then they stopped talking. I'm like, excuse me. but then they said, she will know.
And I knew immediately. Yeah.
So what else we got?
No, so I just wanted to finish that thought. So it just will unfold and just leave it alone. But that's interesting that some parts are awake and some are not. I can see that.
Yeah, and it's and you know, they're showing me something else. I've I visited people that are passing energetically, and I had my my sister's brother-in-law was passing, and it really wasn't a good passing. Like, there was a lot of challenges, and I don't know what his belief systems were, but I don't really think that he believed in the higher consciousness. And when I visited his energy, and I also read a book about this too, and both things were similar. It's almost like talking underwater or walking through mud. You know, like there's a part of the consciousness that's having a hard time popping out. So they really did use a really good analogy of the lotus, because there's some confusion at times.
For him.
For him.
And for me too. But I can only imagine. You know, I sit here and I can talk about how it's just a little frustrating, and I cannot imagine what he is going through. When I'm able to talk to his higher self, he's all Jay, he's funny, he's all of that stuff. And then in the body, there's so much cellular memory still in it that I see a lot of that. But I can't imagine the mud, the underwater muck he's got to be going through.
It's a whole different, it's kind of like when I read the records, it's a different language. You know, what I'm doing is I'm interpreting symbols and stuff like that, and it's not always perfection. You know, sometimes I really need the reader's assistance, like the lotus. Like, I didn't know about that. So, but what if you wouldn't have identified with that? Do you see how the readings can also get mucky? So, so I think it's just quite interesting. You know, I would love to do a reading for him. I don't know. I don't really feel he's that open to it, but
not yet, but it is coming.
I would love, oh my gosh, for me, it'd be like, just so exciting to visit those two people connected into one body. Let's see if we can just, connect with that a little bit. Okay. So let me see if he'll give me permission, because it's like a hot mess, like, who am I getting permission from? Like, actually, Jay is giving me permission, so he's going to be able to talk as much as he can through a different voice. He's kind of funny. I like him.
Oh,
I like him.
Yeah, he's funny.
I cannot publicly say this. I'll tell this to you afterwards.
Okay, don't forget.
He's a piece of work.
Yeah.
I'm closing my eyes because I need to get more intimate with him, and this helps me.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
He says, it's still me. It's still me. He goes, I'm still me. I'm still me. And he said, but boy, it's almost like a puppet. He's showing me like strings and like utilizing this other body isn't like how we use our bodies. We're fluid and free and we just move. But he almost has to do what I do all day long just to function.
Oh, man.
So it takes a lot more energy.
I bet.
And he says sometimes, to be honest, it gets frustrating. But he said it was worth the ride, baby.
Oh, that's beautiful. Because I feel what he's going through. I know I'm not supposed to focus.
Oh, but it's okay. Like, he goes, like, he's really strong. He's like, girl, like, I did this. Like, I chose this. Like, he goes, he's kind of like, woohoo, like, I'm the leader of the pack, like, he's really excited that he did it. So don't ever feel, he said, please don't ever feel like,
good.
That there is a challenge. He's just trying to interpret what he's going through.
Oh, okay, beautiful.
He said, there's no regrets. He said, I felt a little shortchanged when I left because, like, I had everything I wanted in life. And he said, and then when I found that he said, I kept asking. He said, I like you, to me. I'm sorry, I'm not promoting this.
Oh, yeah.
He goes, I like you. He goes, you get it. And he said, I started to do the same thing that you do. He goes, I asked better questions on the other side. And that's how I ended up being able to come back. Because he said, he goes, I'm strong-willed. And he goes, I'm a strong person. And he goes, that stays with us. He said that those characteristics never leave us. Whoever we are now, we can only improve upon, or we could take away from ourselves through our choices. And he goes, but I'm strong-willed. And he goes, I wanted to come back. And he goes, I knew the challenges. He goes, not all of them. He said, I didn't read all the instructions because that's not my personality. And he goes, but guess what? I'm living it now. And he was like, kind of, there's things I wish I would have read better about instructions.
Yeah. Before I even asked.
And he goes, but that really isn't my personality. He said, so I'm living it. So.
Oh, I'm so glad he's happy with it. Because I hope he knows how much I appreciate it. I was so thrilled to have him back.
This is kind of a beautiful thing, and it's really touching my heart in a big way. He said love transcends all. All rules, all everything. He said when you finally find that person that you really, truly love, there's no questions. And I feel like he's a manly man. Like, he was going to get back to you. It just wasn't an option for him to stay away. Like, he made a commitment for a lifetime, and he said, and I damn well planned on fulfilling it. Excuse me, that's him, not me. And he goes, I've planned on fulfilling it, and come hell or high water, he said, literally, I got back. To fulfill the promises and the commitment, because I really do, and I hate to say this, but I do believe there was a mistake, that there was some sort of a mistake made with what happened.
When he died or when he came back?
When he died.
There was, and so it's funny. The last time I had seen him physically, and this was in the 80s and maybe early 90s, he said to me, I'm going to, now I was married, I had children, he said, I'm going to marry you someday. I said, oh, really? Okay, well, sure. You go off to California, do what you got to do. And then he died. And what had happened, I don't know if you read the book or not, but either way, what had happened was I was with a dear friend, a mutual friend of ours, who told me he was going to be in hospital. And I couldn't bring myself to go see him. And he says he died of a broken heart. And I think had I gone to see him, he was waiting for me, whatever happened, but he didn't have to go.
Well, I feel like there was some sort of a medical error, and I hate to say that, but it's what I'm being shown.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm getting all esoteric, and it's a medical error.
Yeah, it was more a medical error, and he's not the type to die of a broken heart, to be honest. Like, he just would have fought his way back. Like, there was something that happened. I don't even want to say, because there's medication, there's a bleed out. There's some things that happened, and I don't understand it completely. But what's more important is what we have right now. That, and he, I'm sorry I keep laughing, but he's funny.
No, he's funny. Go for it. He's funny.
He is so funny. He's like, if I had to jump in another person's body to claim my woman back, like he said, you were my girl. He said, I was going to get you back. He said, but he did it ethically. Like, he did choose a route that was ethical,
Oh, yeah.
But in the same token, he was like, this worked.
Yeah. He kept asking, how can I do this? How can I do this? What do I do? Yeah.
And it's funny because
do it.
The spirit of Jay can talk more easily than actual Jay, or actual, I don't know what you refer to your husband as.
I just call him my husband at this point. It's confusing. The names it's confusing.
Yeah, say, hey, baby, you're the body snatcher. He's hilarious. Like, I love his energy. He's robust. I really would have a good time, like, meeting him. I'm asking him if he would. I'm asking him something. Hold on. So I asked him if he would do an actual reading with me, and he goes, well, we're talking now. And he goes, but the other half of me isn't as open.
Thank you. Hence my question.
He goes, oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because those parts of it, like, you're asking, hey, can we do a reading? This guy who I'm married, no, he would not be doing that.
No, he goes, the other half. He said, he's hilarious. He goes, I came to be with my other half, but now I have another half to contend with my other half. So he's hilarious. I mean, I'm so enjoying him.
And here's my question. So when do I get the other half? And that's all it is. And I know it's my Earth perspective, and I know he's around all the time, but that's what I want. I want him to be able to say, hey, Candy, let's do a reading. I want to know what else is going on. Like the real him.
He's showing me a whole lot of things, so give me a moment to translate all this. He said, please take this. Oh, God. I was going to say with a grain of salt, but he showed me this image. Now he's laughing at me. So if you're making a cake and somehow or another you think, I'm just going to put a little cinnamon, but you grab the salt shaker and it has that big open thing and then it just pours all over the cake. You can scoop and take some of it off the top, but it's not going to look perfect. There's probably going to be some salt taste. It's almost like there's no way to get it completely apart. And he goes, and it's hard for a reader to say this, but I really believe that you're always going to have a little salt in your cake. So I'm asking him for suggestions. He said, and this is just channeling, and this is a hard read for me, not because I can't say it, but because it's harder to deliver. He said, the guy that he came into is so different from him. He's not this robust personality. He was kind of like cauliflower, white fish, and mashed potatoes on a white plate. There wasn't a whole lot of personality. And he said, so it's up to him. I'm sorry, he's so funny. He's like, it's up to me to make this look like a good meal.
Yeah.
He's like, how do you add color to this? How do you add, wow, all of those ingredients are good. White fish is great. Mashed potatoes are wonderful. Cauliflower is a great vegetable, but how do you make this look appealing? So he has a hard time getting the puppet arms to always flow in the direction because it's such a dichotomy of personalities, sweet and salt, right? So he says, of course, I'm the sweet. Of course. The thing of it is he said, what the two of us, meaning you and him, get to do is enjoy the parts that come out, the parts of the sweet that come out. And we have more than most, he's saying, he's talking, we have more than most ever have that have gone through a loss. And enjoy the sweet and know that the salt is just there because we had a blessing. He said, you and him, he says, this doesn't happen a whole lot. No. It's not permissible. And nor does another person want to leave the moment of their lifetime. It's a hard one to even happen. So what you two have is like a uniqueness beyond unique. Mm-hmm. So if we have to taste the salt with the sweet, he goes, baby, let's do it.
Oh, that's great. I can do that. Yeah, because it's a whole hell of a lot better than it was.
And he said, I'll try my best to keep coming out when the puppet arms work. And he says, I work really hard at making sure that I'm trying to get everything organized so that it's in alignment so that he can drop in more. And fortunately, his personality was so robust, but there's like Swiss cheese holes in it because of coming back the way he did. So he said, when you need to, he said, I'm open to these readings. And he said, when you need to, utilize that as a gift. And he said, because it's fluid. He said, I can just be myself in this moment. He said, there's no puppet moves. There's no Swiss cheese. And he said, and even when I'm in the body, there's more Swiss cheese. Like my brain feels like Swiss cheese at times. He said, kind of like women in pregnancy. He said, I can finally identify with that part. He said, when hormones change, for women and they call it Swiss cheese brain. He said, that's kind of how I feel at times in the body.
Yeah.
And he said, so there's parts of me that are missing. And he said, I'm really sorry for that. And he said, I'm really doing my best to give you all that I have to give. And he said, he's just being cute with, and he goes, and look, look at what we're doing. Like, and this is not me again. I'm really sorry, but he's very.
No, it's fine.
Does it sound like him at least, right?
Totally. Oh, absolutely.
So it's just so beautiful. And he actually has 2 guides that came with him. That came part of the package. So can you believe that there's 2 guides working on this? So they're really good guides. I really
And they're
like
Jim and Joe. Their names are Jim and Joe.
Oh, really? Cool.
The guys' names are Jim and Joe. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I have to read the book. I got to like the first chapter and maybe the first 10 pages, and then life happened, because my business being busy. But so yeah, I really like Jim and Joe. Let me talk to them.
Oh, yes.
Want to talk to them?
Please.
They're hilarious. One is very staunch. Like I'm looking, he's very staunch. He's like, I'm keeping this all together. And he is a little effeminate. So he's really funny. Jim is more like your husband. He's more robust. Let's get this party going. Like, let's push this along, like but the other one's like, we must keep order. So we have the organizer, which, by the way, everybody needed.
Yeah.
Very much. And he has a little bit of an attitude with me because of what I said. So I have to apologize to him. Hold on. Okay, what I explained to him, and he agrees now. He said, I said, I'm just trying to do this for the higher good of everybody. And he said, that's efficient. So his ego is quiet now about this. He goes, that's efficient. I like efficiency. So, and then the other one, Joe is the one that's tight. Jim is more playful. And he's the one, he also has a very tender heart. And he says, I try to keep the heart in this whole thing with everybody's heart. So he's kind of like the spirit guide. And the other one's the organizer of this process. So I really like them. They'll do a really good job for you guys. They were hand selected for this process.
Were they?
Big time. Big time. Yes, they have evolved as spirit guides for a long time. They were in process for this for a long time.
Wow, that's
amazing. So they know what they're doing.
Wow.
They said that this is easy.
No, I can't imagine. Do they have any light to share?
I'm sorry. The Joe guy, the one that really could be in theater, he goes, this is like a theatrical production. It is not easy. He's like talking like that. And he says, think about producing a theater. He said, we're literally reproducing theatrical productions all the time.
Oh, wow.
He said, creating the stage, creating the voices, creating the costumes, the setting, because all of this has to be almost like artificially organized because it's of a different page of where we live. It's like there's, a book and there's chapters, but he's like, this is like just each day is a new page that we're creating. So he's trying to talk to you, Joe, and he's saying that think about when you wrote your book. And it's a whole book. But what about writing each page? And then you have to correct the spelling, and then you have to get the right thoughts, and you have to create the right agenda. Because that's what I'm doing in your life. That's what Joe's responsibility is.
Wow, yeah. And I know how much that is.
So he said, think of life like that. We just live. As humans, we just live. But Joe's responsibility is to keep everything in order so that life can be published every day.
Wow. That's amazing.
He's amazing. I actually really like Joe now after we had our little tiff. You never know what you're going to get when you're doing these things.
No, I know. It's, yeah.
Jim is very beautiful. He is And Joe is too in his own way to be so committed to this process. But Jim is more the heart center. Like, how can we get the two of them back to the center of their heart, back to the center of the heart of the relationship? Because when we feel on this earth as humans, it's different than what is happening with that relationship of your current husband. There's parts of it that are artificial, so the heart just feels. So what he's doing is almost like, it's an exaggeration, but sprinkle dust to the moment. Like, how can we make this more real? So he's the reality-centered person. How can we make this more real in a human context of emotion? Because how we feel on the other side, completely different.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's more of a oneness. So carving out this individual feeling is interesting. I've never seen anything like this, by the way. I mean, it's just phenomenal as a reader, to be able to look at all the components of this. I, of course, didn't expect any of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So how is Jay feeling on this side? He's feeling like he's underwater, isn't he? Yeah.
It's almost like, how when people talk on Facebook, and like, as I'm watching my mouth in this moment, and then when I get on Facebook and my video, it's like my mouth isn't syncing with my audio.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how it is. So it takes a while for things to sync up, so it doesn't naturally flow, but it's still my audio coming out of my voice and still the same words when I'm watching a Facebook Live, and I'm like, why am I out of sync? That's what he's showing me as an example. So, yeah.
So he's wondering why he's out of sync here or there?
No, he just is out of sync.
Yeah.
It's, there's a delay of sorts. There's a delay. Yeah. Does that make sense to you?
Well, yeah. When you think about it, there's. I don't think we can have any clue of what's really going on, but I can see a delay. Whatever the syncing. Yes, that makes sense.
It's out of it's. Of course, Jay had to put his 2 cents in this, and he goes, "It's kind of like the old foreign movies with I die." And then when they do the voiceovers, he goes, imagine living in a Chinese movie. I would really enjoy Jay. I mean, that's kind of how he's showing me. He's almost like very actorish in this moment. And he said his past of being an actor really helped him in this process. He said, thank goodness for that life experience. He said that's helped him to transcend a lot of challenges that he had, coming back and living in this body that's not his. And it's energy. He said what's interesting is it's like putting 2 energy fields into one unit.
Yeah. Wow. Is there anything I can do to help from this side?
He's like, heck no. He goes, just be my babe, He goes, just love me, He goes, enjoy me, enjoy when I come out. He goes, let's play, And he goes, so what if we're out of sync? He goes, it's kind of fun. Like, he just kind of considers it a little bit of romantic, and really what he did was like he's showing me like his valiant armor. And he said, I really was like, when I came back, it really was with a valiant honor. And he said, but he, in all jest, he said he doesn't want to make light of this. He said, because what he did, he said others actually can do, but choose not to because they know that there'll be such limitations. But he said, even with the limitations, our love was that transcendent. He said it really was. And he said what he wouldn't have done and did to get back to you. And he said, that's it. Bye. He's like, I'll see you later. He's gone.
He's amazing. He's just amazing.
He's hilarious. I mean, I don't think I've enjoyed a reading this much in a long time.
Wow.
Beautiful, beautiful man.
Thank you, Candy.
It is my extreme pleasure.
Oh, that was beautiful. That helped too. I'll tell you, this is my bump, and I'll get over this bump.
Well, but remember, now this is your guides talking. What if you could look at it differently every day? So think of his challenges, but he's willing to do it, and they're not berating you in any way, so please don't hear it like that. But why don't you think of it, or maybe you could choose, put it that way, maybe you could choose to think of it a little bit differently. So what ways could you think of things differently each and every day to make this more light for you?
Oh, well, and I've really started thinking about that just for all the little pieces. What just came through about the when I pop in, and that really explains an awful lot to me. But I know when he's here, I can feel it. And I think about those things. And those are the things that is like, oh, how great is this? And I kind of concentrate on them. Mm-hmm. And I'm doing my best to get away from what my expectations were. Those have to go away.
Oh, completely.
All these little pieces that come in, it's like, oh, there he is. Oh, there he is. Oh, there he is. Isn't it adorable? Yeah. I don't know. That's what I think.
So, your Swiss cheese husband, right? So they always give assignments, almost always. And your assignment is to literally create a list of better questions to ask yourself in the moments of frustration. And they do this not out of chastisement, but out of helping you to survive this process, because we really focused on him and what he went through. We have not yet even touched you and focused on what you need to go through and what will help you. We haven't asked that question. They said this is just like her too. That, you of course go all into his needs and wants. Part of the reason why he loved you so much and still loves you. But it's really cool to prepare yourself by creating this list of questions in the moments of frustration.
The list of questions in the moment of frustration.
So this is something intimate to you. And so, like, how can I even more enjoy those moments of joy? How can, in this moment of frustration, which there will be, mm-hmm. How can I appreciate even more the gift of still having such a fluid energy of joy come to me each and every day? I mean, most people have to use people like me to get this experience, and you live with it.
Oh.
Freely, every day. Other people have to knock on my door and say, and they get to, I mean, it's a gift as well, but search the right person. Like you said, you've searched a lot for people to help you. And can you imagine not even being able to get a hold of the right person to help connect?
Oh. Yeah.
And you're able to do that freely. Not every day, not every minute, but a whole lot of the time.
A whole lot of the time, yeah.
I have one aunt that comes to me pretty fluidly, and in a huge, like, funny moment, inappropriate moments, is exactly when my one aunt comes to me, and she laughs, and as soon as I get emotional about talking to her, she goes away. Because it's not the right vibration. So the vibration has to line up for the fluidity to happen. So what they're challenging you to do is, how can you keep your vibration in a state to connect with Jay even more? So this isn't about Jay and whoever the other person is, not the Joe and Jim, but the other half of your husband, the puppet part.
The Tom, yes.
Tom. So what's interesting is they're giving you the challenge. So they're doing as much as they can. Jim, Tom, Joe, Jay.
Jimmy, Joe, and Jay.
Jeez.
I know the J names.
They did that intentionally. So, but the question is about managing your state in this. And again, I'm sorry for being so abrupt, but they're really encouraging you to manage your state in this so that you can make this all easier for you and for all of them.
Managing my state, which is frame of mind?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So managing those pleasant moments and those challenging moments. And so challenging yourself to manage your state at the highest vibrational level that you can, staying in that space so you can receive Jay more.
And
So when you
enough to get there, you can just shift and be there.
Shifting your state, yep. And managing your state is so vital for this to flow a little bit better. And so when you get scared or when you get confused or when you get frustrated,
yeah,
doesn't happen. But when you stay in the high vibration, it drops in to your husband and the energy of him.
Very cool.
Yeah, so it's not about him. It's about you.
That I'm not used to. I can do that.
But you can do that. They're saying that it'll help you and help the whole situation to vibrate more and quit. They said, no need to worry. No need to worry about Tom or Jay, because they chose this. This is their life mission. The same way when you say, oh, when you see a child who has MS or something, you think, oh, that's so horrible. But that's part of the journey that they chose. And so once we accept that they are who they are and that's the journey that they chose, we look at the whole situation differently. Like, how cool is that kid? Like not, oh, poor little kid. But you think, how cool is that kid that they chose this journey in this lifetime? So that's what they want you to hold on to. And they said there's an amen to that, sister. Your guys are hilarious. And that was from your guys. Are you there? Did I lose your sound?
Ooh. We back? Oh, sorry. I just got so fun.
So that was the end. When they said amen, they really meant like
I'm gone. Oh, wow.
They booted us out of the system.
That is
really a lot of energy to handle. They said for the reader, that was a lot of energy. That was a lot of energy for the listener to hear. And when they feel like anything is saturated, then they shut it off for the human mind because it's just more than we can handle.
Oh, I can imagine how much we can only take so much. All of us can only take so much.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, Candy. That was amazing. I can't tell you how many things you touched on that just right there, right online, and not even really knowing the history. Very, very cool.
No, I only got to about page 10, so.
And when you'll really get it when you read it.
And when you shut the video off, remind me to tell you that part that
I have that written down.
He's a piece of work.
Oh boy. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for that. I'm so happy we were able to do that.
Oh, I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed to be able to share this. I really do love what I do.
Oh, you're very gifted. Very gifted.
Thank you so much. And I'm grateful that you said it's a gift, but it really is my truest pleasure. Like, I'm literally in a state of ecstasy when I do this. Total ecstasy.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So thank you for giving me that gift.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, honey. Mwah.
Sending love and light to you.
Same here. Bye-bye, honey.
Bye.